Hey guys, welcome back to another video. It's your man Jay. Today we're going to be talking about the Pixel 9a after about 2.5 months. Now I've been using this regularly straight through. I haven't given you too much content on it lately in the last 30 days or so because I've just been checking out the latest Android 16 beta. So, you know, it's fine. But more so I've just been using the phone, and I want to kind of continue to use this phone because I think it's actually a very good Pixel. Now that I have it, I was really deterred about the new looks when I saw it in photos and things like that, and the leaks. Leaks kind of kill it for me sometimes, but you know, once you get something in your hand, you're gonna have a change of heart about it sometimes. But this phone is actually really good. Now I will say I'm using this alongside of the iPhone 16e, and then also using it alongside of the S25 Edge. And you can see the difference in thickness here, how thin this is and how thin that phone is, because this isn't a thick phone at all. But I started to talk about hardware because that's something that I was kind of deterred about when I first saw the leaks. Like I said, I thought this back panel was ugly and stuff like that, but I do wish they would have continued with the bar. But if they were going to do this style, they could have just put this all the way across. To me, it'll look a little bit more uniform. That's just me, but it is what it is. But in the end, I've been using this on 16 beta, and I'm not affected by the battery or anything like that. I'll get to that in just a little bit. But, you know, I was deterred about this hardware when I first got this phone in. And, you know, it's been almost 3 months now, and it's phenomenal. It's a phenomenal piece of hardware. It's just getting over the fact that it doesn't have the latest, newer design on there. But that's not really a big deal, I guess, after you start using it. It shouldn't affect you too much because you're not going to be walking around looking at the back of your phone. You're going to be walking around looking at the front of your phone. And so that's where it lies. And the things I've continued to love about this phone, and most phones that are built this way with the brushed aluminum sides or titanium, if it's titanium, just the brushed look around the sides. I'm a huge fan of that. I don't like polished rails on phones. And I just think it just makes for a bad experience in hand. And on top of that, this phone's hardware has the frosted back along with the brush sides, and that just makes it wonderful. It just makes this a joy to use. I'm team no case, and I'm all about wearing a phone, using a phone without a case. I don't have to have a case. I just really don't. I prefer to not use a case when I can. And most times I don't. Phones now have an IP rating. And I've been kind of getting my IP ratings worth, if you will, because I walk outside with the phones. If I drop them, I drop them. If I don't, I don't. I prefer to just have them out. I like phones to have a certain texture or feel to them. This OnePlus 13 in particular feels phenomenal without a case. And right in line, obviously the Edge feels good without a case because of the thickness and how lightweight it is. But this phone feels good without a case because it kind of has everything that I would say the standard for me is when it comes to hardware: some kind of frosted back or texture back, and then brushed aluminum sides. Yeah. So the OnePlus doesn't have the brushed aluminum sides, but the back is such a leathery feel. It just makes up for it. So that's a huge plus. No pun intended. But this phone right here, some other things that I thought were going to deter me, but I'm not big on it. But when people keep hammering it in, they start to talk about how thick the bezel is around the screen, but so what? I'm not focusing on the bezel on the screen. I'm focusing on the content on the screen. And so that doesn't really affect me in most cases. Now, some people will go in and they'll change the wallpaper to a dark wallpaper like this and just try to hide that. And that works for some people. Not really my style. I don't have to have a dark wallpaper just to try to hide whatever is there or whatever, but some people do it. Some people just can't do it. They cannot take the bezels on some phones, and they don't like it. And so for me, I haven't had any complaints about. I should have done both. I haven't had any complaints about any of those things, man. So I like it. I think that what they have going on here is, as I just totally screwed this up, I think what they have going on here with the bezels and the design of this phone is actually pretty good. Yeah, it's good to go. It's really good. No complaints whatsoever about the way this looks. I don't put as you can see, my original wallpaper that was on here was the brighter one that I created. But the point is, this is a solid piece of hardware, period. solid piece of hardware. And I give a little bit of time to that because this is what you're going to be faced with. Now, some people are going to put a case on it. When you put a case on a bigger phone or thicker, no, I shouldn't even say that. I shouldn't say that. I got to stop saying that because that's just from me using the Edge every day for a month. It's starting to feel like everything else is, you get it. But when you put a case on this phone right here, it takes me back to like the that you want to feel, like this doesn't affect me at all. I don't think it's too thick or anything like that, but some people are going to wear their phones like this. They're going to put a screen protector on it and then they're going to put a case on it. And there is absolutely nothing wrong with that. You should do that if that's what's going to make you happy and keep your phone, because people who are doing this, they're wanting to keep their phone for as long as possible. And it should be. You shouldn't switch phones every 30 days, every 60 days, every 90 days. You don't have to keep up with whatever's going on in the market. You just need to find that phone that's good for you. And finding that phone that's good for you is where this phone comes into play. It has fingerprint reader in screen. It has facial recognition. We got facial recognition here. That facial recognition is wonderful. Now, when you talk about software, well, it's Google. So, their software is speedy fast. Even on this so-called entry-level phone, it has a top-tier processor. Now, whether it's idled down or toned down or whatever, or they're reeling it back a little bit and not giving it all the performance or power, I actually can't tell. I think this runs neck and neck in the same type of performance that I'm getting on every other Pixel that I own. And I just equate that to their software being really good and really optimized for what they're offering. They have the Tensor chip in here, so you're going to get stellar performance when it comes to your day-to-day tasks. Now, depending on what network you're using this on, like I said, I switched this from my Mint to my Google Fi, my Visible to Mint to Google Fi. I tried on all of those, and Google Fi is solid. So obviously I'm not getting 3 days or 7 days of battery off this thing. It says I have 3 days left with 67%. Well, that's because I'm not getting as much usage out of this phone for like the other phones. Like this phone is just phone calls pretty much. I need this phone number for phone calls, and this is just what it is. Like this is the usage of this phone. I do social media on here. I do pictures. I do all the normal things. It just gets a lot less than now that it's on my third SIM than the other phone numbers. So when I did have this in rotation in my number one SIM slot, it still gave me about a day and a half, 2 days maybe, because it's actually a really strong competitor when it comes to battery life. I'm going to try to get myself out of this mindset that thicker phone means bigger battery, means better battery. That's just not true, because again, I use phones with smaller batteries and they have the same type of battery life and sometimes better. So there's going to be a lot of people that are not on the 16 beta, but being on the 16 beta hasn't affected my battery life. It actually improved it a little bit. And in standby time, aggressively improved for me. But overall, software, hardware, performance, day-to-day tasks, I don't think you can go wrong at this point with the Pixel 9a. Again, my usage is going to vary because I have 4 phone numbers, and I'm just being transparent about that. When this was in my number one SIM slot, this thing was getting beat up pretty bad in the first 30 days of its life. And battery life was just a day and a half, a day to 2 days, I'll say. Performance is still good. Still love the hardware. Still love everything about it. So the Pixel 9a in under 9 minutes, this is a win still, folks. If you don't buy it at this point, I don't know what to tell you. I'll see you in the next video, and I'll follow up later. Take care.